Our regularly scheduled program will not be seen today so that we can bring you this special presentation.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nation Network. Vince McChan with you here, and this is a special request video. I don't normally do these kind of things, but in this particular case, I'm able to for a number of reasons, which I'll probably discuss here in just a couple of moments. First off, a quick shout out, if I can get the image to come up here. I think we got it. Boom. So this came from Dane Weissog, and he said, any chance you can do a video showing your roster and arenas? I'd love to recreate my own 2K25 to play those great legends and cause. So normally I probably wouldn't be able to do this because a lot of times I have people in the roster I haven't debuted on the show yet, and I don't want to tip my hat to any upcoming stories that might be happening. But at this point in time, everyone on my roster has been displayed in one place or another, so there's no real surprises to give away. So, Dane, this is for you by request. So, first things first, I have 3 different seasons going here. In this one, aside from the 605 Legends, everything is modern day, including AAA wrestling. This one had the XWF and the IWF. Of course, the IWF is gone, and then we had the UWF. UWF is in there, and we've got a big event coming up between the 2 promotions. I think it'll be on Monday. That is my plan at this time for Beach Brawl. And then over here, we've got the legends from the Saturday Morning Superstars show, as well as the legendary Monday Night Wars, which I haven't had a real chance to do anything with because I've been doing all these other ones, and there's only so many hours in a day. I would like to eventually get back to doing some Monday night stuff, hopefully. The fact that I'm not getting next year's game, at least not at launch, it'll be at least 6 months in, not, when the price drops substantially, is the only time I would consider buying the 2K26 game. So I'm going to just keep rolling with this one for the foreseeable future, which allows me the time to catch up on stuff that I haven't really done yet. So now let's jump into the rosters and the arenas. At the very end, I'll run the scroll that I generally roll at the end of most of the programs, and that scroll will tell you all the creators I use now. The one thing I have to admit I'm bad about is a lot of times I don't capture the names of the creators of arenas. Don't know the reason I do that or don't do that, but a lot of these creators are strictly for the cause themselves, and hopefully that will get you going in the right direction. Meantime, I will also show you the arenas that I've got. Some of them are originals, and a lot of the stuff I've got, it has been posted already to community creations, and you can find my stuff by doing a search for One Nation. It's the number 1 and the word nation. And that'll bring up the stuff that I've posted. I would say go to creator in case there's anything I forgot to put the tag on, although I'm pretty good about that part. But just in case there's something I may have forgotten to put a tag on, you'll still find it through my creator once you pulled up any of the things that I've put up. So let's jump into it. Talking about the roster, and we'll go straight to the custom men. So most of these you've already seen, and if any of this is mine, I'll point it out, but the majority of it is going to be tied to somebody in the scroll that'll come at the end. So we've got Abdullah the Butcher. Antonio Inoki is mine. It is posted. Anderson, the Assassin is mine also, and that's posted. Barry Windham, Barry Horowitz, Bam Bam Bigelow, B. Brian Blair, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, Big Boss Man, Black Charus, Blackjack Mulligan, Brutus the Barber, Brock Lesnar, Bobby the Brain Heenan playable, which this would have been what's the status thing. I'm presuming it's still available because sometimes when you take the non-playable characters and make them playable, the folks here at 2K will strike it down and take it down. So it may still be up. Buddy Roberts, now the attires that you've seen me do with the Freebirds, especially with the old school attires with the green and yellow. Let's go in, I can show you. This attire, I did this myself. That said, I can't upload it because it's not my creation. I did see someone else make this attire, but not on these created wrestlers. So you can kind of pick your poison there on how you want to go that route. All right. Lou Albano, again, this was done originally by What's the Status and then the playable version. And then I did all the costuming myself. I don't think I can upload this, though, because it's his creation. Cowboy Bob Orton, Dangerous Danny Davis. I needed to get some legit referees, you know, because I would see Jessica Carr refereeing a match between, you know, Hogan and Morocco. And, yeah, so I need to get Danny Davis in there as a referee. Same thing I've done. Well, we'll get down to this in a little bit. Denny Brown, this is my creation. It is posted and available. Dennis Condrey, Demolition Smash was not mine. Demolition Axe is, and again, available and posted. We even have Demolition Blast is up there as well. That was from the IWF, which was a legit thing. Demolition Blast did exist. Morocco, this is definitely belonging to What's the Status. It's awesome. It is a better 09 Drew McIntyre than you would get if you unlocked it in the game. The one in the game, the hairstyle is horrible, and this one is much more accurate. The only thing I did do on this is I sized him up a little bit. I gave him a little beefier body. But other than that, it comes with the Trons, it comes with the music, and all the movesets and everything you'd want. Into the AAA stuff, like I said, I've really been enjoying AAA. So, and I've never done a real AAA season of any kind in 21 years of doing this. So I'm kind of diving into this one now that I'm able to watch it and understand it better. It's nice having American or English broadcast. Even recently, I've tried following the CMLL, whichever, the other one, just to see, because they are supposedly really having a boom right now. They're just taking off over the last couple of years, really doing well. And I'll watch what I can watch, but not understanding any of the dialogue, any of the broadcast, it's hard to, you know, I'm sure they're talking about backstories and feuds that these guys have had or why they're feuding now, but I can't follow the story. And the wrestling itself that I have seen, for the most part, just not up to snuff. A lot of overweight guys that kind of, you know, go through the motions. That's my take on it. We got the Giant from WCW. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, our current television champion. Greg the Hammer Valentine. This is most of these old school guys are going to fall under the umbrella of Honcho's Legends. This was one of them, but I did do a lot of tweaking to Valentine's face. I widened the jaw and some things like that, but the majority of what you're seeing in this is going to be what you get if you download his. Grand Wizard of Wrestling, that's mine and should be posted. I'm pretty sure it is. Gorilla Monsoon, again, another original of mine, which is up and posted, available for download. Hank Walker, I'm a big fan of Hank and Tank. I couldn't believe they didn't make the cut for this roster, to be honest with you. But even though I hardly ever use them because I don't have much time for modern-day roster, I'm keeping them. Dr. Wagner Jr., Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Ivan Koloff, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. Like I said, just debuted him on New Year's Eve, I believe. Juan Cena shocked the world and took the AAA Mega Championship. Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, playable version. I might be probably cutting him loose pretty quick because I can use this slot for something else. Jeff Hardy, that came out really good. And even though I got rid of my TNA program and roster, I kept Matt and Jeff because they do a lot of crossover stuff. Ken Patera, I turned his hair white on this attire because I thought that was a better representation of the time frame. And then I kept the brown as well for when I use him in UWF, for example. Kerry Von Erich. We got to take that title off of him. This is in our regular exhibition mode, so he lost that title to Luger at Starrcade, but there's Von Erich. Kevin Sullivan. I did a lot of work on Sullivan. Just let you know, I wasn't really digging all of the face. I changed the eyebrows around. I changed the hair around. Did the beard goatee thing that you see here. But to do that, because of the face scan that was used, I had to put, well, let's go in here and be easier than to tell you about it is to show you. So he's got two different hairstyles. That's the one for that attire. Let's jump into attire. And you can kind of see there the difference in the hairstyle. Let's jump here. Go appearance, hair and facial parts. So what I did here is I covered the chin area with this one here. Let's see. How can I color? There you go. So now you can see the way it was glowing there. So that area there, I used the circle. And then here's the measurements on the color. If you want to match it up that way, it's a 17,350 on the top bar. And then on the color scheme, you got 142.97.78 to get the skin tone to match up. And I did that again because the facial scan had him with like a full goatee, and I just didn't feel that that was working. The other thing I did on this one, and that those other little squiggly guys, was to fill in the mustache and kind of pop it up a little bit. The middle section of this goatee, I believe, has no mustache involved in it. The other thing I did is if we go to the deformation and the region. So I lowered the eyebrows and I made them a little bit more accurate to Sullivan's facial style. And now you can see that full goatee that comes with the face scan, and that's why I covered it up. I just didn't, I wasn't feeling that vibe. So anyway, those are the changes I made. So if you get the Kevin Sullivan, you're going to have a little bit of work to do to make it look like this one. Or if you're fine with the way it looks, then just go as it is. But that was the best of the bunch that I had found. So we'll just back out and leave him alone. Let's see. Knobs and Sags, those are originals, and they've been posted for a long time, so you can get the Nasty Boys. La Parca Jr., is it not? Might have to go and tweak that name. Laredo Kid is our current international champion. Albano will win the manager. Interesting. Magnum TA, Mike Rotundo, or Rotunda, depending. Michael P.S. Hayes. Mean Gene. There's Matt Hardy. We saw his brother moments ago. Mr. Fuji as a wrestler. Again, that is available through What's the Status. Would have been cool if he could have thrown some hair on him from his wrestling days. Mr. Iguana. Murder Clown. Nikita Koloff. And again, most of these old school guys are all going to fall under Honchos. There's a couple here and there that I went with somebody else on, but a lot of them are going to be under Honchos Legends. Pedro Morales. Pat Patterson is mine. I just recently did this, and I did post it, I think. I'll double check. If not, I will. This was done by request. I had... if I can get anything to work here today, it would be amazing. Sean Cook had requested some help with a Pat Patterson, so a few different thumbnails later, I kind of got a render that's close to the right size. Still a little bit off, but not as bad as some of the other ones were. So I may just re-upload this to make sure I got the most recent one. One Man Gang is not mine. Nikita Koloff, Psycho Clown, Renegade. I'm not getting rid of Renegade. I've barely had a chance to use him, but when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, that is, number one, it's a really well done call. And number two, I just, guilty pleasure, I guess. That's all I could say. Sad ending to the life of the man, but end of the day, it's just, he definitely played a role. If you can't get the real thing, Nature Boy Ric Flair, I did change his hair for the black and white so far as the robe, with the butterfly robe, because that robe won't allow this hairstyle. So for the entrance, I put on the next hairstyle, which it will work with, and then for the in-ring portion, it goes back to that. There's no way I wasn't going to have the black and white robe, though. Butterfly robe is legendary. Got an older school Road Warriors here. This is a little bit more like early NWA, late AWA style. Ricky Saints had to have that. Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, Rocky King, Sags again, that's mine. SD Jones, Sting, the Crow version, Steve Dr. Death Williams, Steve Lombardi. Again, this is not mine, and if I'm not mistaken, it was created as the Brooklyn Brawler, and then I just kind of made the Lombardi version so that I could have him for the Saturday Morning Superstars. Sergeant Slaughter, Sting, Superfly, Tajiri, Tank of Hank and Tank, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and again, Teddy Long, playable, so that I could use him as a referee and as a general manager. I was using him as the general manager for the longest time. And then I was thinking with the Legends of 605, it'd be nice to have him in there as an official as well to give a little legitimacy to the referee pool. $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, that is an original. There's no face scan on this. This is all in-game, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. Took a lot of tweaking. I may re-upload him. I'm not sure if I've got the latest version of him. So if you see multiple versions of anything, you always want to go with the latest one because that means something was tweaked. Tavish Noon is an original. He is posted, and if you're not aware, he was part of the storyline from last year so far as the in-game storyline. Tito Santana is an original. He is posted. And a little behind the scenes here. I've had people say, man, that's like photograph quality facial and blah, blah, blah. And here I'm going to kind of peel back a little surprise for you. So if we go to face and the photo capture, if I'm not mistaken, that's the face. I think it's one of these two. I forget which one. It's one of the default faces. And then all I did was just bend it and tweak it and move it around. I feel like it would probably be this one. Oh, wait. No, it's probably this one. Yeah, that's what it is. So I just used that one. And then I just, like I said, I morphed the hell out of it. So the fact that a lot of people thought that that was an actual face scan from Tito Santana, it just shows what you can do with the morphing tools that they give you in the game. And I really like the way it came out, and the moveset and everything is really spot on, so that's why I'm not getting rid of it, even though they finally put Tito into the game for real, and I'm happy about that, and I will use that version of him in the more of like the XWF era stuff and the UWF stuff. I'll use him there in that text. And eventually, Saturday Morning Superstars is going to, turn the page a little by little, and you can see that even in the most recent show this Saturday morning that just passed, where we brought Hulkamania back to the fold. So we're moving in the timeline, and eventually I may just timeline into that and keep Santana on the side for the Legends or something like that. Tony Atlas, Mr. USA, is not mine, but also a really well done thing. And I think I may have made a second attire for him. Don't quote me on that. Tully Blanchard, and that rounds out the roster for the men. On the women, again, not mine. AJ Lee Bailey is mine. She is up. This, of course, the legendary Bailey from NXT Black and Gold. It has the entrance, it has the Trons, it has the music, and it has the buddies, the blow-up buddies. So it's legit. And I always enjoyed that version of Bailey the most. The girl next door with the ponytail thing, I really missed that. I missed the music. I think she hated the music is what I'm hearing. I think when she did the interview with CVV, I think she said something about she didn't like the music. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It was like really good energy music. It got the crowd up immediately. I don't know. To each his own. Fabi Apache, and my goodness, 2K, you guys have the ability to screw the pooch unlike anyone I've ever known before or any company I've ever seen before. There is no longer a Native American headdress. Why? It was there for many seasons, and now all of a sudden it disappears. Now there is a next best thing, which is Rey Mysterio's headdress from the WrestleMania. Only you can't use it on females. I got nothing else to say about 2K. That's why I'm not buying next year's game, because this is the mentality they have. Lady Flammer. I thought it was Flamer, but apparently it's pronounced Flammer, and there are two M's, so that would stand to reason. And Izzy Moreno. If you don't know, that was a super fan of Bailey's back in the Black and Gold days. That was a little kid watching her matches and dressing just like her. And now she's actually wrestling, and she's doing really well. You are going to know, if you don't know her now, you are going to know her in the next 2 years max. I think she'll be one of the youngest ever to hold a major championship. Very, very talented. And then let's see, Alta Tires. So we made Psycho Sid, which is the black trunks and the black vest. With the Brock Lesnar they finally did release, they didn't release him in anything other than the country boy gear, so they didn't give him his in-ring gear, so I had to change that. I couldn't tolerate Junkyard Dog without the chains for the entrance, so I had to burn up a cost slot just to put chains on the entrance. And then recently, I did want to go ahead and change up the look. As we can take a look here. Attire. So we basically gave him the Shield outfit. I wasn't going to go with the black hoodie and all that. And then just down to the pants and the boots. And with Natty, Chelsea, we got her attire where she's got her faces all over her outfit, and I don't know what the other one is. There may be two attires for that. And then Ravishing Recruit has two different attires as well, because I would be fine with the in-game model if they wouldn't have put a specific one. And I mean the Ultimate Warrior's face. The same way in past years they had Cheryl Roberts' face. It would be nice if they would just do, like the Ravishing airbrush or something like that, where it covers multiple feuds as opposed to just the specific ones. So that's costing me another slot. Same thing. I mean, Chelsea Green, when the game came out, wasn't the Chelsea we know today. And now with all her looks, and she doesn't wear the same outfit twice, which makes it pretty impossible. So, and then we got Natty. And I actually just updated this very recently because of her appearance in Triple A. So this is the original one from Bloodsport here. And I don't know if I've uploaded this. I definitely haven't uploaded it since I made the latest changes, so I may do that if it lets me. And I think it should. Let's jump in here, though, because the thing that I like the most is I created the logo. I didn't copy this or anything. I just basically cut. Gosh dang it, I can't even talk today. created it based off of the logo that she uses on her jacket. Now, because of the length of the hair, if I were to put the logo higher up, which is a little bit more accurate to the way she wears it, then you're not going to see it, and that kind of bummed me out. But I definitely wanted it to be on the jacket. I like the whole low-key legend theme and moniker, and I just like the fact that, you know, her wearing the bodysuit like this and the more UFC badass. I like that. Anyway, this is my take on what she did for the AAA appearance, which basically says Natty in the colors of the Mexican flag. And again, I definitely haven't uploaded this one yet, so I will later on, maybe today. And we're just going to get out of there. I don't want to make any tweaks or anything. So that's the roster. As far as arenas go, again, I'm not great at saving the creator names for arenas. I apologize for that. And a lot of them are then tweaked anyway. So the XWF, that's mine. The WCW Clash of the Champions, I want to say that was someone else's and I tweaked it. The IWF is mine, which currently has like algae and stuff on it because we use that as the lead-in for the UWF, if you recall that. So we wanted to seem like it had been abandoned in a warehouse or something to that effect. TNA Impact is definitely not mine. The WWF that I use for Saturday morning shows and Madison Square Garden, they were someone else's. I liked the lighting, and then from there, I tweaked the crap out of them. So I've put my own work into them, but unfortunately, I can't upload them because there were no upload settings. IWF Wrestle Slam, Evolution for the women's wrestling, which I thought I was going to do a little bit more of that, but again, just not enough time. The XWF Universal Assault premium event, the Hall of Fame show that we did. This is not mine, but it's available out there. CWA Memphis Wrestling from the mid-'80s, and that's exactly the way it downloaded. So it's pretty well done. I like the mat in particular. It's got a lot of like DNA stuff going on the mat. The green screen, I use that to get my green screen so that I can key out backgrounds, and that's how I do my interviews on the platforms, like for especially on the Legends show you see. But even more recently on the Saturday Morning Superstars, you saw an interview that took place backstage at Madison Square Garden between Mean Gene and Hulk Hogan, and that's how we're able to put in the lockers and stuff like that. The Boston Garden, again, I don't think this was, it might have been. If it's mine, I'll upload it. I don't know if it was or not, to be honest with you. But what I've been doing with these is I've been going in and just changing the banners around, and in certain cases, like the Boston Garden always had that wood floor. But even with the Spectrum, what I'm doing with the banners essentially is putting their team banners in the background. So you've got the Flyers represented there. You've got the 76ers represented there. So it kind of gives it a little bit of that vibe. But I'm not sure that this was entirely mine. It probably wasn't. I just tweaked it up. Star Spangled Slammer, that was one of our PLE events. Never got to using this one, the UWF Outdoor. I just don't. Because they didn't do an outdoor stadium, there's only the nighttime version. They didn't do a daytime. If they would have, then this would work much better. So I was able to kind of come up with, for the UWF, the way they had the trailers and stuff, because it was shot outside on Universal's exterior because they didn't want to pay the money for a sound stage. But the lighting's not right, even though everything else is. And then the camera angle, if it happens to adjust just a little too high, well, there goes all your immersiveness. And you kind of tip in your hat and you can't do this angle at all. So, unfortunately, it's not going to get used. I just, as much as I would like to have been able to do is a little something to show that outdoor aspect of their program, which was sparsely attended. I just know that these camera shots are going to end up, you know, the game does its own camera shots occasionally in cutscenes, and it's going to look like crap. So I'm not going to use it. XWF, our house shows, is the XWF Rage. UWF Fury Hour. The Renegade Rise of the Renegades was a PLE event. UWF from the Penta Hotel. Power in Paradise. I don't know if we even did that show, to be honest with you. So, oops. There may end up being a Power in Paradise. I don't know. The Baltimore Arena, again, same thing. This thing is not mine. I've done a little bit of tweaking to it. Not much, actually. They already had a lot of good banners and stuff up there to make it feel. Beach Blast, that's mine. WrestlePalooza, that was a download. UWF Blackjack Brawl, that's an original. Legends of 605, definitely not mine. And the only thing I had to do to this was to put the podium in front. This is one of my probably 2 favorite arenas in the entire game. I really like the way this came out. Not mine, so I can't take any credit for it, but you'll find it if you look for it. And I don't know if it was labeled TBS 605 Legends or not. That might be my label. The Cap Center, again, not mine. Nassau Coliseum, probably not mine, but I did a lot of logos for it. So I did all the Islander banners from back in the day. Of course, now they're at the USB Arena, and they've resituated the banner situation where they are like along walls and stuff. I'm an Islander fan, grew up on the island, and I'm just telling you right now, they should have stayed at the Coliseum. So we've got the Nassau Coliseum logo there in the ring. Just to add a little touch there, we've got all the actual banners. I just got this year's 2K, or not 2K, but EA NHL Live game. First one I've had in many, many years. Got that for Christmas. And it still frustrates me that when you go to the arenas, they do have their banners up where they should be, but they won't put the names on them. So like the 5 is there, the 9 is there, and all that kind of stuff. But they're not going to actually have the banners themselves with the name. And I guess there's a copyright thing to that, but I got to believe a lot of these guys would be just like, yeah, just here's the rights, do it. Just because they'd want their names represented. Although the NHL Players Association probably has something to do with that as well. So anyway, that's what I was doing with all those, the specifics. The Boston one has Boston banners, the Flyers, you saw that. But because they weren't my original creations, it doesn't allow me to re-upload them. Survivor Series 93, that's kind of the old school logo that I like to use when I do Survivor Series. Beach Brawl. Well, you guys know it's coming up, so it's not really a surprise. That'll be this week. But that's the Beach Brawl Arena, easy to say. And then Legends Mania, one of the more popular shows here on the channel. There was another UWF exterior that I attempted. Didn't really come out any better than the other one. They both have the same challenge. Starcade, I used that CWA arena and tweaked it up a little bit. Again, it won't let me upload it. This is not mine, but somebody made the Hasbro arena, and that's what I used for the Christmas show with the action figures. And I'll probably keep coming back to 2K25 for those types of shows because I've got a solid lineup of the elite figures that I've either unlocked just by doing in-game stuff or by certain purchases or what have you. So because I've got the full roster, the odds are I'll probably stick with it. AAA, there's 2 different ones. I've got this one, which is not bad. And then Saturday Night's Main Event. Curious to know why I would be going with that as opposed to the in-game. Huh. This WWE AAA Worldwide is up there with the 605. They are tied for my favorite arenas in the game. A lot of cheats going on with this. God bless America. I do need to change out, and since we're here, I'll probably do it now. I want to get rid of the Netflix logo because I friggin' hate Netflix. Bunch of pedophiles. Allegedly, in my opinion. Okay. AAA, they put the tunnel in here, and they kind of hid the whatever was going on front of it. They smashed some stuff together and make it work. But the tunnel is used really well, and even the back lighting kind of shines through nicely on a lot of the entrances. So it's got a great effect. Let's go here real quickly, though. Go to the ring. Go to the mat. Oh, tell me it's got... Wait a minute, what's going on here? This seems odd. Let's see if it is. Looked like it had something else going on besides Netflix, and I thought I was going to end up losing. Let's see if there's any other applicable logos. It wouldn't be mine. It would be from one of these other creations that we've done. Yeah, there is something kind of... Oh, he must have put a block down to take off the other... Whatever was on the sides of the word Netflix. I feel like that's going to be too much of the same thing, though, because you already have... You know what we need? I know what we need. Yeah, he used these two blocks to take out whatever it is that says there on the... Let's find out, because now I'm curious. Oh, that's what I wanted. Okay. Live on Netflix. Okay, so he was blocking out that part. Oops. All right, now I understand. Let's go with the emboss, make sure that's at 0, which it is. Let me see something here, because I don't know if I'm loving the... I like the logo being there. I just think it has some white edging going on there. So here's what we're going to try and pull. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, good. What we're going to do... Let's get rid of that. And cool. Everything else is covered up. And now we will just add... I think it's in... Yeah. Perfect. Don't really have the network anymore. Let's see. Is there another one? Hold on. See if there's another one that just has the WWE without the word network on it. Yes, there we go. And by default, they always go to 20. I don't know why they don't leave it at 0 and let us decide. But I like that better. That's cleaner, and it's a little smaller, too. I thought the other one was too big. And that takes care of the Netflix, which I don't want Netflix. Don't need the custom show because that already exists and it'll carry over. It's not mine. I'm not going to upload that. It's not mine. I'm surprised I'm able to. If I at least knew whose it was, where I could give credit or something like that. But even then, all I did is change the logo. That's literally all I did with this one. Incoming. I thought I said no. Okay. So I think that was the last of the arenas too. So that's everything. So I hope that takes care of it. Probably a little longer than I was anticipating, but that's what we got to work with here. So I'm going to do the scroll. You'll see the list of creators that I have used and that I continue to use and that I recommend you check out. So if you search all these names out and then save them to your favorite creators list and then start going through their stuff, and once you find any one creation, just go to everything content made by that creator, and then you can page through it all and you will find everyone on this roster pretty much. I'm going to go through again and re-upload some of mine that may not be the most recent one. So give that a little bit of time. Maybe by the end of the day, that'll all be up there as well. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for paying attention. And if you're still here, hit the like button. Should have said that earlier on. And here's the list of creators. And I'll see you again real soon right here on the Nation Network.